Good evening, everybody. This is just Bob Bowman, and I'm coming at you with a live stream this time. Usually, I've been on a lot of pre recorded videos, but this evening, I kind of wanted to just allow myself opportunity to say what I want to say and freestyle a little bit and be honest and truthful to you about certain things that's been going on in my life. Um, One thing that I want to talk about is the recovery process of getting over everything negative that's been happening in my life and my experiences and what I've learned from it. Um, First, I want to say that recovery, it's not a pretty picture. It's pretty ugly. Recovery can be nights where you find yourself in despair, where you praying and you don't think that God is hearing you, extreme loneliness, having to face yourself and all the negative things that you've done to place yourself in a position that you find yourself in to have to recover, mistakes that you've made, things that happened to you that wasn't your fault, but it's your problem, and learning how to take the necessary steps to put one foot in front of the other and keep pressing forward in life. My recovery process, it really started this year. Like I had a lot of things that happened to me that was very detrimental to me in the beginning of 2017. And I thought things were going to turn around in my life, but they didn't. Actually, things got really bad to where I actually hit rock bottom and I almost gave up on myself and everything else around me. 2017, I found myself divorced. And as a man, I take responsibility for all the negative things that I've done to create that situation that caused me and my ex to get divorced. Um, I can't take the fault of her and what she did, but it's not up to me to talk about what she did. All I can do is take responsibility for my shortcomings in the marriage. And it was devastating to me. And I didn't realize just how devastating it was to me until the following year, actually, the following 2 years, I was in a situation where I was forced to face all those emotions that I tried to hide from. So I got divorced. I rushed into a long distance relationship that really wasn't good for me. Like the person really didn't have my best interest at heart. She just looked at me as a body. She wanted me to do things her way. She really didn't respect my mind and who I was as a person. And I'm not saying that she was a bad person, but she was a little bit too controlling for me. And, like I had people trying to tell me, but I had to learn that and see it for myself. And the people that were trying to tell me that she was that way, they were trying to, you know, f- pretty much like pressure me into dating somebody that they knew I wasn't interested in dating. And that I stated that the first time it was brought up several other times. And I was like, no, no, no. And these people eventually started having an issue with me. I was accused of wanting to be like another guy that was a part of this group. Uh, the insults came, the harassment came, the gaslighting came, like the harsh criticism, the tearing me down came, everything to make me seem like I wasn't intelligent at all, that I was just stupid, that I was just a utility, because at the end of the day, that's how they looked at me. Like all I was to be the guy to do what they want me to do so they can look good. And sometimes in a group setting like that, people can try to box you into a hierarchy of where they think that you belong at a place that you belong. If in the hierarchy they think that you're supposed to be at the lowest possible level, they are going to make sure to project that onto you, so it would be no doubt in your mind and in their mind that you're low on the totem pole. And I fought against that. It was a huge issue between me and those people, and it grew out of control. And I was already going through a depression that I was trying to like stuff away and hide. Um, I was really trying to get in touch with God too at the time, and learning the Bible, and it was real hard. It was real hard. Like I had people that was supposed to have my best interest at heart that took advantage of me because they knew I was in a bad situation, and I didn't realize just how dire my situation was. But they took advantage of me for their own evil doings. And this is with religious organizations and other organizations. Um, there were some issues between me and some family members as well. Like I wrote a book back in 2017 as well, and I released it in 2018. And I was honest about certain things that happened to me when I was growing up, you know, like being singled out for violence, being singled out for robberies and things of that nature. Because I come from the south side of Chicago, and when you look and you act and you behave unlike everybody else, you are a target. I mean, it is what it is. And I also was fed a lot of lies about, oh, you just be yourself and you just work hard, and eventually you'll get the opportunities that you should get. And I held on to that thought process for years. Forgive me if I have to pause a little bit, but I'm being very transparent without telling too much of the story. But I found myself having a drinking issue. Like I was abusing alcohol. I was hanging out every weekend, just getting plastered drunk to try to forget about the situation that I found myself in. I had to leave a job because it was becoming too stressful for the little money that they were paying me. And I did Uber for a year. I met some really interesting people. It was a really decent time in my life, but at the same time, I was actually going through a depression, and I wasn't being honest with myself, and everything was about to catch up with me. And I also was going to the gym a lot. I was going to the gym, working out, trying to lose weight, but I was drinking a lot. So it was really killing the progress that I was having. But I was in the gym at least 6 hours a week. And I put a lot of pressure on myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do good and be the good person and look out for everybody, look out for the community, you know. And some people, I would say, appreciate it, but the majority of people, they just looked at me as another kiss ass trying to overcome his bad situation. And now that I look back on it, it's partially true. Like I was looking for a way out and I was thinking like overexerting myself and overdoing things and being everywhere and helping everybody, that it'll help get me to that point, and it didn't work, because I was actually giving my all and my honest energy, and I was trying to do good, but I also had some expectations that maybe I would be reciprocated in some type of way. And I had to realize that that wasn't going to happen. And it was a really tough it was a really tough thing to accept. And like I got in some trouble in 2019. I don't want to get into the full thing. I ended up getting into a relationship with this one lady, and I'm not talking about the one from DC, but I ended up in another relationship with this other lady that it wasn't a good relationship. It actually uh brought me down even further because she had her own issues, and I was trying to help her with recovering from what it is that she was going through, but I was going through my own mess, and she wasn't trying to listen to me because she had in her mind that she was better than me. And I was just a placeholder for the guy that she really wanted to be with that was in jail. And that's the honest truth. And I look back on it and I'm like, man, like, how low did I think about myself to allow myself to be in a situation like that? In the beginning of 2020, I ended up breaking off things with her because I'm like, no, like, I can't allow myself to be treated like this. And I was just wilding out, like doing a whole bunch of stuff that was out of my character. I was still drinking. I started, smoking weed heavy. And I was still working out, still, like trying to hold up this image. And then COVID hit. Um, and once COVID hit, like things took a turn for the worse for me, especially health wise. Financially, I was really not doing that good because a lot of people had took advantage of me, especially this one lady that used to be my pastor. Like she really took advantage of me and certain people in my family, and I'm not gonna go into the full details about that, but it really hurt me financially. Um, Me going out partying every night while doing Uber, that hurt me financially. Uh, Me chasing women and doing all this wild stuff, it hurt me financially. It all caught up to me around this time, and I started having issues with the car that I was driving because I was doing Uber, and like I eventually found a stable job, and I'm not gonna say what job that is because I work there currently. So I found a stable job, and then COVID hit, and then I let some people know certain things about my personal life that I probably shouldn't have let them know. And they were adamant about getting me to bug down and to surrender and place myself at a low value. and they knew it was one woman that I was not interested in. She wasn't interested in me either, but she had four children, four young children, and she wanted somebody to help her with taking care of them. And I was the prime target for her, and I wasn't doing it. Like I tried everything to get out of her wanting to, get with me and try to force a relationship. Like I tried to lie my way out of it, tell her that I was in a relationship already, but she already knew the truth. Uh, all the people, they made me pay a really heavy price for not going along with the program. And it's a lot of men that go through this. And like when the sisterhood want to attack a certain brother, they going to attack him and they're going to try to diminish him to the lowest molecule to see if they can make him break. And they really tried to make me break because socially I became isolated. And a lot of people that I thought I was cool with, that I was friends with, some that I was just being cordial with, like those relationships ended. And around that time of me having uh, social isolation, financial issues, my health ended up declining to the point to where I could barely walk, and I had to go to physical therapy for 4 months. And it was the worst physical therapy experience that I ever had in my life, because not only was it physical therapy, it was also going to the chiropractor. And there were nights when I had to go to sleep crying to myself. I had to let a friend of mine move in because I couldn't really function the way that I usually function. It was bad to the point to where I could barely lift over 10 pounds. Like he had to help me with a lot of stuff. He was in a situation himself, and I'm not going to go into his personal situation, but he was in a situation where he needed to live with me during that time. And, you know, like I just had to deal with it. And while I was going through that, it was some other procedures that I had to go through that were very painful during that time. My relationship with certain family members fell apart, and I came to the realization that out of all the stuff that I've done for people, that nobody cared about any of that. They wanted to see me suffer, and I was the prime target, the prime suspect for them to take all their frustrations and anger out on. That was me. And it was hurtful. It's still hurtful. Like I'm still doing my best every day to get over what happened. And it's not easy because it went on for well over a year that I had to go through this. And then like I had a family member get shot and killed in the neighborhood that I live in. I had another family member that passed away, like in the midst of me going through all this. It was a lot of people passing away during that time in 2020. Like a lot of people that I knew passed away, and I know that that happened with a lot of other people. Like you saw a lot of people passing away. I know I'm not the only person that went through that, but it was very tough to deal with when I was dealing with all the other stuff, and I was still trying to work, and I came really close to just giving up. The only person that really talked me in the stand was my sister. She really talked me off the edge because I was really about to just say forget it. Because it was other family members that they didn't really understand what I was going through or care about what I was going through. They just wanted me to do what they wanted me to do and do tasks that they wanted me to do. And it wasn't fair for me as far as what I was recovering from. But I had to go through that experience to understand that I had to think about myself first sometimes. And I would say the breaking point was when I had my car burnt down. When my car got burnt down, that was really rock bottom for me. In the aftermath of that, and I don't want to go into it too much because everybody that know the situation know what happened, but that was rock bottom. And I had to make some tough choices. Like I had to ask myself, who is beneficial to be around me? Who do I need to get away from? Who do I need to just keep distance from until I get myself together? Who do I need to keep distance from permanently? I had to take the steps necessary to build myself back up from ground zero. I had to face myself. I had to face the consequences of my bad decisions. Like I had to put the weed away. I had to put the alcohol away. I had to learn how to just be in the house, not doing anything on the weekends, even if I have money, like stacking that money instead of going out, you know, not being up in everybody's faces, leaving people alone, not trying to fit in where I don't fit in at, accepting that some individuals just my presence alone irritates them, and just understanding that it's not my fault, but understanding that I just need to accept that. And it was very difficult for me to accept that at first. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to turn to. And I had to deal with these emotions. And I was going to therapy and counseling and things like that. But I knew that I had to get out of the environment that I lived in because it was, first of all, it was dangerous. Like five people got killed on the block that I lived on during the 3 years that I lived on that block. And then, like I was like I had my car burned down, and then I ended up getting another car, but that car got messed with, got broken into. Um, I had individuals leave trash in the back of my back door. It was like a lot of disrespect going on. A lot of people was trying to play head games with me in that neighborhood. And I needed to get out of that environment. And I had to move somewhere where I wasn't like, I remember back in 2018, I said I was not going to move to where I live at right now. But here I am. I'm right where I said I wasn't going to be. And it was a reality check for me. It was something that I had to just accept that, like God, He's going to make you do things in His way and in His time, even if you don't want to do it. And it was a tough pill to swallow, but it was very important on my road to recovery because the year that I've been where I'm at, I am seeing progress. I am recovering. It's a slow process. It's not as fast as what I would like it to be, but I am making progress. As far as physically, I'm doing better than what I was back in 2020 right now. Like I can walk, I can, move around. Sometimes it's hard for me to get out of bed. After I finished physical therapy in late 2020, 2021, I really pushed myself a little bit too hard. Like I was trying to get back in real good shape. And I ended up joining uh, a running group that did running on Lakeshore Drive on the weekends. And like at first I was just walking, but then like one of the guys, he kind of like encouraged me to just try to jog a little bit. And I did like about 2 miles the first time I actually jogged. I got up to 7 miles eventually. And in my mind, I was like, man, maybe I can eventually get up to 10, then a 15, then a 20, and then I could do a marathon eventually. Like one of my dreams in life was to actually run a marathon. And so when I got to 7 miles, I was like, maybe I can actually do a marathon. But a couple of weeks after reaching that point of 7 miles, I woke up one morning and I went out to jog, and every step that I took, it hurt, and I had to stop. I had to stop jogging. I had to go back to walking again, and I left the running group. Some of the people were like, "Oh, what happened to you?" And I was too embarrassed to let them know that my health ended up failing me again, and I had to stop. I slipped into a little depression about that because I was like, man, I actually saw progress, and I had to stop doing it. And it was tough for me to deal with. But God doesn't do things He doesn't put too hard of a burden on a person. Like sometimes we have to take heed to things, and we have to learn how to take things slow. So now I go to the gym. I go 3 times a week. um I'm working on myself. I'm not giving up. And I know that slow and steady wins the race, as they say. And so now I'm accepting that I can't do it at my pace. I have to do it at the pace that my body and the Most High allow me to do it at. Um, as far as relationships go, I'm isolated still, but it's okay. Like I've learned how to be okay with being by myself. I'm still learning how to just love me for who I am unconditionally, because I don't want to depend on somebody else loving me for who I am unconditionally, because I've done that before and it's failed me so many times that I realize that that's not the smartest thing to do. That if I want to love me, I got to do it for me. If I want to get in shape, I got to do it for me. If I want to become a better person, I got to do that for me. It constantly makes me question a lot of things that I'm doing now. Like I am working on some projects and I don't want to talk about it, but I have to ask myself, am I doing it for me, or am I doing it to gain acceptance and improvement from other approval from other people? Sometimes the answer isn't what I want to hear, and I have to be honest with myself. And like part of me want to express myself, but then a part of me know that if I put too much out there, it could possibly hurt me. It can hurt other people. But then I know that even though I'm training myself not to want acceptance, like it's a part of who I am. It has been for a long time, and I have to work really hard to get over it. I have to work really hard to get over wanting to be accepted by others. And it's not easy, especially growing up when you've always had that yearning, when you always had that yearning to live the life that you see on TV. Like one of my favorite TV shows was The Wonder Years, and or Family Matters, or Full House, and wanting to live the life that I saw in these different sitcoms, and coming to the realization that life isn't like these sitcoms. Like they might have real life situations in them, but it's still a fantasy. It's not reality. And that was a really hard lesson for me to learn. like that I had to separate fantasy from reality, and I didn't know if I could recover from that. Like I had to face the facts. I had to face the music. As far as like dating a personal life, like I had to be honest with myself. Like the type of woman that I like, and I'm talking about the optimal version, is somebody that looked like it's this IG model named Virginia Sandhouse. Like somebody that looked like her or a Coyle Ray. Like I've always liked women that were kind of slim. Uh, the skin tone didn't matter to me as long as they were slim, pretty face, you know, nice shape on them. Hey, you know, I can't help what it is that I like, but at the same time, I have to be realistic to who it is that I am as a person. And even though I'm being more realistic, I'm still not going to just take anything. If I like somebody that's slim, you can't convince me to go opposite of that. And I'm being as nice as I can with saying what it is that I'm saying. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to get anybody's emotions, but we have to be real. We have to be honest about it. I mean, and I get that some people say, "Oh, you don't know what you like until you try it." Well, I'm 40 years old. Best believe that I've tried certain varieties, and I'm like, "Nah, I'm not into that." But you had individuals that'll be like, "Well, look at you. Look at what's wrong with you. You got this wrong with you, that wrong with you, yada yada yada." Like putting all my flaws is the reason why I should just take whatever it is that's available. I mean, and that's cool if that's what you think, but me, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'd rather be by myself and work on myself. Like I know that looks isn't all that, like it isn't the most important thing in the world, but if I'm not attracted to a person, the relationship isn't going to work. It's not. And I understand that there's women that feel the same exact way, which means that finding somebody that really likes you and willing to be with you in a relationship is extremely tough. Like some people never get it. Some men never, have children or get married, and it's okay. But we live in a society where we have all these expectations and all these standards that we try to live up to, and it's causing a lot of chaos. It's causing a lot of confusion. It's causing a lot of people to want to give up. And I'm tired of living up to other people's expectations of me. What's wrong with me just being me? What's wrong with me just doing things the way that I like to do it, as long as I'm not hurting anybody? Like, what's weird about that? Like, if I get turned down by a lot of women and I end up getting my passport and going overseas and finding some women that actually like me or at least pretend that they like me, like, what's wrong with that? They pretending that they like me just like the woman that know that she wants another type of man than me, but she has such low self-esteem about herself that she thinks that she can only get somebody like me. She's pretending as well. And I see that all over social media. You got a lot of people pretending. That's why the single mother rates are so high, because there's a lot of pretending going on. And people want to say that the passport bros, they want to live in pretend land. I'm not living in pretend land. I'm living in reality, but doing the best that I can to be as happy as I can. And it's not easy. It's pretty tough. because just for a sprinkle of happiness on my life, I have to deal with a huge amount of criticism from the other side, from the guys that want to call me a passport pervert because I want to go somewhere where the women actually treat me like they actually like me. They treat me good. They want to, shame me and say, "Oh, these women, you're taking advantage of women that's poor." But what do you think that these rich men over here be doing? They be taking advantage of women that want to get to that level. It's the same thing. Then you say, "Oh, the women over there, they just gonna take advantage of you and use you for this and that." Like the women here don't do that. I mean, it's the same thing all over the world. It's just that I'm actually trying to put myself out there, travel, take the risk, and hopefully I get some success. If I don't, oh well. At least I've tried. At least I took the risk. If I find it here, oh well. But it hasn't been working so far. I mean, and that's a part of recovery. Part of recovery is knowing that you're gonna have some highs and lows in your life, but as long as you stay on that path, you're gonna be okay. That's where I'm going at. I'm going on that path, and I know it's gonna be okay as long as I stay on that path. And some nights is gonna be rough. Some nights is gonna be painful, either physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Some days I'm not gonna feel like getting out of bed. But as long as I push forward and I move ahead, I'm gonna be all right. I don't wish any harm on anybody. I don't wish, you know, I take that back because a couple of videos I was praying that bad things happen to people that speak bad about me. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like, I don't want things to happen bad to people, but I just want people to leave me alone. I want people to leave people like me alone if you don't like me. I'm not your punching bag. I'm not your colostomy bag. I'm just Bob Bowman. That's all I've been saying since I started doing these videos on YouTube is that I'm not what it is you think that I should be. I'm me. And if I'm not good enough, then just leave me alone. That goes for family. I don't care which family member it is. I don't care which family member it is, how they feel about me. It is what it is. I know I'm not going to be accepted 100%. I know my thoughts and my views ain't going to be accepted 100%. But it is what it is as far as my views and how I look at things. And I know that I'm going to be attacked for it as well, but that comes with the territory. All I know is that I really I really want the pain to end. And I'm not just talking about the physical pain. I'm talking about the emotional pain, the spiritual pain, the feelings of loneliness. And I get out. I go and hang out with the handful of real friends that I have every once in a while. So it's not that. Like, I get out. Like I said, I work out. But I know that the void that I'm feeling at this time is something that I need to work on, and I need to feel it for myself. Like no woman can feel it. Sex, drugs, alcohol, none of that can fill those voids that I feel in my soul. I mean, it is what it is. Like I had so many dreams in my life, and I've had to realize that life isn't fair because a fair is where a pig is judged at, and I'm not a pig. So, with this life that I'm given, I just want to do the best that I can to the best of my ability. Um, but this is what recovery looks like. For those that watched this live and came in and came out, thank you for peeping in. And those that's going to watch the replay, thank you for listening. I'm going to have some new topics that I'm going to talk about. Like, I even got some old writings that I've done that I might uh, just do live streams or pre recorded video and just post it, because I wrote a lot of stuff. But thank you very much. Have a nice evening.